My name is Abel Santiago, and I'm the pastor of the Aurora, Grand Island, and Hastings churches here in central Nebraska. During that time when I first got here, there was a school. It was open at the time, and it was kind of getting towards the second half of part of the school year. Long story short, things worked out to where the church membership and at the business meeting as a whole felt like we needed to take a break from having the school. The one thing that stood out in my mind as a result of that decision was that decision was made with the expressed intent was that we would strive to reopen the school. But something happened, and that was that people started to pray about the reopening of the school. And so as a result of that, God began to move in different ways on people's hearts. And as a result of me bringing it before the church and the committee members and other people talking positively about the school, and bottom line is that the people began to respond with making pledges. And it was really wonderful to see how people were just so touched and inspired of really feeling that conviction that God wanted us to reopen the school. I knew that it had to be a total collaboration between all the churches here, the three churches that I'm responsible for, and the church that Pastor Rainier pastors, which is the Spanish church in Grand Island. And so the reality of the school reopening is directly connected to all the churches coming together and saying, yes, we will support the school. And so I'm very grateful for that, and I thank God for that. Shortly, now you're going to hear from a couple of our members. Next will be Chris Colmer, and then after she shares her story, we're going to hear from Nick and Gabby Shelton.
My name is Christy Colmer. I attend the Grand Island Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I live in Grand Island, Nebraska. We had a business meeting, and as a full church, everyone but one person voted to go ahead and close the school. We felt like it was at a point where we needed to take a break, get things under control and in order. And so we were hoping that it would only be just a short term, and thanks to Pastor Abel and all the communication that he did with our church members, it was just a year. And so we are looking to reopen. I see that it's a huge, important part of our church due to the fact that, well, we've had members come to our church thinking that we had a school, and they actually chose this church so that they could put their kids in our school. And when they got here, they were a little bit disappointed that the school had already closed, but we gave them hope that it would reopen shortly. And I'm just hoping that it will continue to draw young families to our church. Our prayer at home, our personal prayer, and between my husband and I, we started praying for the school in a particular way, asking God's wisdom, asking for God's leading and guiding us. Then I also saw within the whole community of our church, at women's ministry, at different organizations, we would get together and we would bring up prayer for this church school, so that was our priority. I could see that many people were wanting to have guidance, have wisdom, have knowledge as to what should we do, what can we do, and how is God leading us. I chose to send my children to Christian education, but I could not afford to do that for 2 children on my own. But a lot of members that were here at the Grand Island Church stepped up and helped me, and they backed me. And now it's my turn to help to step up and back the next generations so that their children can go to school too.
My name is Nick.
And my name is Gabby.
We moved back to Grand Island about a year and a half ago. We originally grew up here, but we spent a good amount of time up in the Broken Bow area. And we came back because we felt that God was leading us to move our family here and do ministry with the Grand Island Church.
So we have 2 boys. We have a 4-year-old and almost 2-year-old, and then we have a baby on the way.
Even with our oldest, who's 4, we've been getting him into preschool. And so we've had to settle with the non-denominational preschool, which, has been a blessing to us. But it would be even better if, he could be educated through our beliefs and whatnot. To have a school for us personally as a family would be a huge blessing, to know that where we're sending our boys, 3 of them, is going to be a place where I can trust the teachers, the educators. I think repetition deepens the impression. So when you have our boys, for instance, at home learning about Christ and about the Bible and about, our worldview as Seventh-day Adventist Christians, and then he gets to go to a school that's going to reflect those same values, is going to teach him those same things, and it's not going to tell him, you can't talk about your faith or whatnot, but instead is going to embrace that. I really look forward to that extra time that someone else is going to get to work with him as well, to teach him about Christ and the gospel. It's nice to have a degree. It's nice to have an education, to learn math skills and to learn science and to get a good job and a good career. But ultimately, what education should be is preparing our characters for eternity.
So a verse that I really want to share with you guys is Proverbs 22, verse 6. It says, "Train up a child in the way he shall go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." That really is my hope and dream for, my boys, but as well as other moms and dads who are pursuing Christian education for their kids.
So in hearing Chris and Nick and Gabby share their perspectives and their stories, it just reminds me of how important Christian education is. And that, just like Chris said, she was at a point where she needed support, and now she's at a point where she's the one that can, her and her husband can be the ones to lend support. And hearing Nick and Gabby talk about their kids who are not school age yet, but will be soon, they're looking forward to having a place where their children can be surrounded by their people as well. And so I want to encourage you out there, if you're listening to this story, I want to encourage you to not give up the dream of having a Christian education for wherever you're at. That's the place where your child needs to be. That's the place where he or she might just hear the very thing they need to hear to make their commitment more deeply and fully for Jesus Christ.